Lights, camera, iPhone. Today we've got something truly intriguing to talk about: how Apple shot their event with the little guy, the iPhone 15 Pro. Yes, it's the same phone we use to record our kids, pets, and maybe an occasional concert in the shower or wherever you sing. Let's get into it. You probably remember Apple's Scary Fast event where they wowed us with the latest M3 chips, MacBook Pros, and iMacs. I have some controversial comments about them though, but what really caught my attention as a filmmaker was the closing reveal that left me stunned. A simple title card that read, "This event was shot on iPhone and edited on Mac." And I went, wait, what? This wasn't just Tim Cook casually holding up his new iPhone like a salesman. They had a full production setup using multiple iPhone 15 Pro Max devices, the Blackmagic camera app, which I'm still surprised they didn't use Filmic Pro like before, still beef, and of course Tentacle Sync for synchronized timecode. I really want to talk about why this is crazy and what it means for everyone. Let's start with gear. Apple really went crazy on this one, probably more than before. If you squint to the fine print, you see that everything in the event, I mean everything, the presenters, the cool locations, and even those breathtaking drone shots, they were all filmed with an iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, you know, Apple's been into this sleek pre-recorded videos instead of in-person stuff for their product launches since 2020. But guess what? This time they went all in and used only an iPhone to shoot the entire keynote event. Pretty wild, right? They used a whole arsenal of accessories, from camera cranes to drones, gimbals, and dollies. Not to mention the iPhone 15 Pro Max was locked and loaded in a Beast Grip cage, which isn't cheap at all. Depending on the specific model that you want, it'll cost you anywhere from $140 to $350. They also used external hard drives connected to iPhone via Type-C to save recordings, because good luck saving those ProRes files on your phone. External mics for audio, professional lighting, we're talking Airy Sky panels here, son, and extra modifiers to make everyone from Cook to Issa Rae look their best. So sorry, you cannot just prop up your iPhone and expect Hollywood magic. If anything, invest in lights. Maybe not the sky panels, but we'll get back to that shortly. In terms of camera work though, they didn't use any lens attachments like we've seen before. They kept it strictly to the native iPhone lenses and shot mostly wide on the 24mm lens. This makes sense because the more you punch in, the more the image starts to degrade. At 24mm as well, you get the best low light performance relative to the sensor size because you're using the full spectrum range. But this also means that you get deep focus. As you can see from these frames, most of the image is in focus, and that's not only because of the lens, but also the size of the sensor. Frankly, with all the amount of efforts that went into the set design, I would do the same. I'd show everything. Lastly, they used teleprompters to help the talents with their lines. Next is lighting. Straight away, you cannot make anything look good without using lights, especially an iPhone. In this event, they used giant sky panels and lights to flood the iPhone sensor with information. I mean, look at the BTS and see how many lights are there. Nothing was left in the dark. All the interior shots had good lighting. One key thing to note though is how they did mix color temperatures as well. Everything was mostly daylight balance and maybe a small warm practical in the background. Perhaps they went with something this simple so that the post-production workflow doesn't overstretch the files too much. Point being that the iPhone needs light and Apple knows that. Now, before we go on, the guys at YouTube have told me that over 96% of you guys who watch my videos aren't subscribed. So please tap that subscribe button quickly and ring the notification bell so you don't miss my next crazy upload about the in-depth cinematography breakdown of the scenes from this event, because I went in really deep and dark, people. Moving on to the production side of things, this wasn't a small crew by any means. This production had some heavyweights on board. We're talking about John Carr, known for his work on Top Gun Maverick, and Jeff Wozniak, who's been part of projects like Transformers, Avatar, and Iron Man 2. And in the BTS Apple release, you can see here in the setup for Team's talking head, the number of crew members on set could be anywhere from 20 to 50, maybe even more. So this plays a major factor in why this thing turned out to be that way. Lesson being, even if you're making an iPhone film, the importance of a great team cannot be overemphasized. I also know that a team could just be you and your cat, though still a team. The next thing to note is the post-production workflow and how they planned for this. They used Apple Log to access a greater dynamic range, and even without the fancy lighting, they shot a lot in the dark, which matches the Halloween spooky vibe they were going for. I talk about the lighting of the shoot in my cinematography breakdown, and you can watch that after this. Just as a reference, Steven Spielberg shot a music video on an iPhone and used Apple's ProRes and Log for flexibility in post-production. Thankfully, this workflow is now more accessible because of that new Type-C port. You can now connect an SSD like a Samsung T5 straight to the iPhone and just record directly, or use the port as an extender for multiple connections like they did for this event, which you couldn't do before. So this is a welcome addition, and I don't know why it took so long, but thank you, European Union. You did it for the family. You did. At the end of the day, the real question here though is, what does this mean for regular folks like you and me? Well, I think this event is a fantastic way to showcase the recording quality of iPhone cameras, but let's be real here. This level of production isn't happening in your backyard or living rooms, unless your living room happens to be a Hollywood studio. What matters is that you're able to use the right tool for the right job. And that's something you still have to figure out for yourself. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts or questions, drop them in the comments below. And if you'd like to see my detailed shot-by-shot cinematography breakdown of this event, you can watch that right after this. Bye.